Parsha Bahaloteka vertical bar. Filed under, Parsha Bahaloteka, tags, Emeka Melech, evil, Kavana, name of God, Parsha Bahaloteka, Ar Yehuda Ha-Nasi, Shalah Ha-Kodesh, the Holy Land, Torah. Rabbi Yosef Salant writes in his book Be'er Yosef that the sages wrote that the purpose of the Menorah was to enhance the light of the Torah in Yisrael. The Menorah hints at the Torah, which is called light. Says Rabeinu Bechayai, the 7 branches of the Menorah represent the 7 types of wisdom, teaching us that all of wisdom was hewn out of the Torah as its source, Natziv. One must live with the times. This also refers to living in the Torah. Parsha of the week Bahaloteka. It says in this week's Parsha, when you go to war against an enemy in your land, you shall sound the trumpets. Concerning this verse, the Shalah HaKodesh says that the enemy referred here is the evil inclination. Like an invader, he is always trying to nourish from holiness. Time and time again he comes to do battle. This battle should not be taken lying down, but one must sound the trumpets. Meaning one must arouse their neshama with great vigor. This is done by performing the mitzvot, commandment, with great kavana, intent. The sages mean this when they say that if one's evil inclination rises up against him, let him take it to the Beit Midrash, place of learning. If this does not work, he should say the Shema, meditate on the name of God, and if this does not work, let him think of the day of death. Now we must also consider when you go to war against an enemy in your land in its most simple sense, as there is no doubt that the Jewish people have enemies in the Holy Land now. Know that these enemies are a manifestation of our evil inclinations, by this they are given force. By our adherence to the Torah, and standing strongly against those who are against God's Torah. We shall conquer all our enemies, with the help of God. In our Parsha is probably the most unusual verses in the whole Torah. They are surrounded by 2 inverted nun, one before and one after. There is nothing like this phenomena anywhere else in the whole Tanakh age. The interesting thing about these nuns is that nobody really knows what they're supposed to look like, nobody really knows where they ought to be, and nobody really knows what they're doing there anyway, and yet they exist and are a prescribed part of every Sefer Torah. These 2 verses are enclosed with a long space, then an inverted nun, then another long space on the other end. The 2 nun can be written not only backward, but upside down, facing front, looking back over their shoulders. Reversed, inverted, inverse, or in disarray. There are many scribal rules about these spaces and letters. To this is no universal agreement. Where does the idea of adding these scribal arrangements come from? Must not the 2 nun have been originally written into the text by hand by Moshe Rabbeinu atop Mount Sinai as dictated by the Holy One, since we are forbidden by Torah to add anything to the Torah? As the Torah states, all this word which I command you, that you will observe to do not add to it, nor diminish from it. Deuteronomy 13:1, if not, the only other explanation plausible is that the rabbis instituted this following God's command to build a fence around the Torah, to help the rest of us avoid breaking the Torah's laws. The inverted nun surrounding these verses look much like a fence surrounding the letters of the verses. Another reason for the 2 inverted nun is because every single letter of these 2 verses was dotted, causing a very problematic result, difficult to lay out, to write, and to read. This would also mean that God's name would be dotted, which is impossible. Since dotting traditionally indicates an erasing of the letters which are dotted, this would also mean that God's name would be dotted, which is impossible, since dotting traditionally indicates an erasing of the letters which are dotted. So dotting all the words could not actually be done, but it was alluded to by nun around our verses referring to Nikud. Point, for this reason are the 2 inverted nun. When the ark went forth, Moses said, Arise, O God, and scatter your enemies. Let your foes flee before you. When it came to rest, he said, Return, O God, the myriads of Israel's thousands. Numbers 10:35-36. The first verse has 12 words, like the last verse of the Torah, and the second verse has 7 words like the first verse of the Torah. Rebbe, Ar Yehuda Ha-Nasi, said, Ba-Midbar 10:35-36, ranks as a separate book of the Torah. The Talmud says with this section God placed symbols above and below. Because it ranks as a significant book unto itself, Talmud, Shabbat 115b. Thus this renders the Torah into 7 books. 1. Genesis, 2. Exodus, 3. Leviticus. 4. The beginning of the book of Numbers up to these 2 verses, 5. These 2 verses, 6. The rest of the book of Numbers, and 7. Deuteronomy. These 2 verses consist of 85 letters. The sages tell us these 2 verses enclosed by the inverted nu ns can be a separate book of the Torah as Sefer, book, must be at least 85 letters long. This division of the Torah to 7 books will not be revealed until Mashiach arrives. 85 is equals, mouth, for when the mouth is used for Kiddusha, holiness, this creates a force, A flow of Kedusha in this person focusing him on spirituality fulfillment. By learning Torah, speaking it out loud with a forceful voice is a very powerful tool for self-change. Words of Torah are the word of God. Concerning this verse, it is written in the Emek HaMelech that whoever reads these words daily with proper intention will not be hurt, even when he may travel to a place of thieves, be it sea or in another dangerous location. We actually say these verses every time the Torah is taken out from the ark when we read the Torah. By this our enemies are scattered and foes flee. Recall in biblical times, the Ark led the armed forces into combat. Torah is amazing. The Rebbe Rashab teaches that the two upside down are two brackets that combine to create a square, which is that looks like this. It is known to the Mikubalim that the Sfirat called Yosher, supernatural, and of the Sfirat of nature the circular Sfirat at the end of the Kav through the square. When all Israel, as 12 tribes, comes together as one and connect to the Torah, Mashiach will be revealed. The two inverted nuns will drop and the light of the Holy Ark will spread throughout the whole 7 books of the Torah. The 19, 12 plus 7, words will bring together the beginning and end of the Torah, closing this circle and flood existence with the light that awaits us from the day of creation. This will be enough for those who understand. When the Ark will travel alludes to the divine light's journey to earth. The Ark in Hebrew is Oron, which consists of the letters Or, light, and Nun. By this we come well prepared to face all adversaries. As with us is the light of the Ark leading the way, giving us the power to scatter all enemies and cause all foes to flee by the light that comes from between the brackets. The two upside down are two brackets that combine to create a square, which is that looks like this. The Cheetah in his book Nashal Kedumim, the letter Nun were chosen to box in these two verses is because the teachings contained within are from the 50th and highest gate of understanding, which is hinted to by the numerical value of a Nun, which is 50. The Cheetah writes that now we have only 85 letters left in these two verses, alluding to there used to be more letters in this Sefer of two verses. This is because the Zohar Hadash says that there are 600,000 letters in a Torah scroll. Counted, the letters in a Torah scroll are 304,805 letters. It must be the 295,195 other letters were or are hidden in the book between the two Nun. A Midrash explains a book called the Prophecy of Eldad and Medad was suppressed, only these two verses remain of it. That is why they are marked by the inverted nuns. In the Septuagint, a 2nd century BCE translation of the Torah into Greek, they did not translate the two verses where they are today. Rather, they moved verses 35 and 36 to be before verse 34. The parshiot from this point onward of the two upside down are different than those preceding, as these upcoming parsha are full of difficulties, problems and failings. Our Shimon ben Gamliel taught that this section when Mashiach comes will be removed from here and written in its rightful place. Its rightful place is in the chapter with the banners of the tribes in Ba Midbar 2. This seems to be involved with the teaching of our sages that the stories in the Torah are not always arranged in chronological order. These verses were written here in order to provide an interruption between the first account of punishment. The first account of punishment is, and they moved away from the mountain of the Lord. Ba Midbar 10:33. The second account of punishment is, and the people were as murmurers. Ba Midbar 11:1. When Amram decided to divorce Yocheved so as to be sure to not produce any babies for Pharaoh to kill. Yocheved did not agree, so she married Eltsapon ben Parnak of the tribe of Dan. Their children are the Eldad and Medad in our parsha that prophesied. One, when assaulted by their evil inclination, needs to run into holiness, as it says the Chio, angels, ran and returned, Ezekiel. By this running we will find ourselves in a new place with a new awareness far from the thoughts of the Sitra Akra, other side. As it is taught by Elijah the prophet in Tana Deb Eliyahu that to prevent the evil inclination from gaining a foothold, like Aaron HaKohen, one should daily light the menorah so that it is always burning. As the menorah has 7 openings, so are there found 7 openings in one's head. We have 2 eyes. We must prevent our vision from leading us astray. One's eyes need to be dedicated only for the use of holiness. The eyes are conduits of chachma, divine wisdom, creativity, inspiration. Let all one's inspiration lead to holiness. Likewise, one's ears should not listen to evil. The ears are conduits of divine understanding. Let all one's understanding be found in the Torah. The nose is the sense by which Mashiach, Messiah, shall discern judgment. It is a conduit for divine knowledge. Let one know before they proceed that what they will do will be holy. While the mouth should be used to speak words of Torah and prayer, not lashon ora, evil speech. The mouth is the conduit of Malkut. Let it be that all one's actions drive them closer to holiness in the governance of God. If one guards these portals, they will not nourish the evil inclination, and it will not come to slay them. When one is doing mitzvot, it will have less strength to interfere. Like during tefillah, prayer, the evil inclination will not interfere with their thoughts to distract his mind from his divine contemplation. He will be able to perform his mitzvot with kavana, intention. By following such instruction we will win our battle against the Yetzer Hara, evil inclination. The Yetzer Hara will have no way to gain ascendancy over us. Evil will have no way to gain nourishment. Then there will be yielded from the mitzvot that will be done in purity with great kavana, a great degree of light, ultimately heralding in with a great shofar blast with our righteous mashich, when evil shall finally be defeated. Then we shall rejoice with God in his holy temple, and may this be quickly in our days. To help bring Mashiach, read this and learn. This will change your life. An overview of everything, including 1. The Owner's Manual to Prosperity and the Soul for Hindus, Christians, Jews, Buddhists, Muslims and anyone else. 2. The Definitive Biblical Phenomena. 3. The Soul Speak. 4. The Owner's Manual to the Soul Part 1, The Gate. 5. The Owner's Manual to the Soul Part 2, The Kabbalah. 6. The Message. 7. The Book of the Angel Matatron. 8. Book of Elohim. 9. Tefillin, the Owner's Manual. 10. The Mystical Holy Shabbat. 11. The Divine Structure of Unfolding of Heaven and Earth. 12. The Book of YHVH. 13. Markava, the Divine Chariot. You can read and download your free copy of these books at this link. https://godsecret.wordpress.com/2010/06/23/foods you want to eat to live long and healthy phytochemical/